them as a hobby.
Oh, I got you.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Tourism Octax Committee meeting for July 23rd, 2024. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the June 25th, 2024 meeting. Mr. Strainer. It's running. Anybody have any questions on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Okay. We're going to try to work a little bit different here. We're going to go with privilege of the floor. And I think we need there's a lot going on with Cool Arena. Lake George, Winter Realm. So I'm going to let them have a few minutes to address us before we go into our resolution. They gave us a couple of big packets, a lot of information in it. So how about the arena? Want to get up and give us a little discussion on this? Oh, wait, hold on a minute. I'm sorry. I missed public comments. We haven't public comments first.
Mr. Chairman, that was me, but you must have had some insight in terms of what my question was all about. So thank you. I'm good.
Okay, thank you. All right, go ahead.
Well, good morning,
Start with
everyone.
the Civic Center.
Jeff,
It's a long meeting, so we just really want to, the top of the line type of thing. You don't have to go through this whole brochure because everybody has a.
no, we're not gonna do that. Oh, my God.
Okay, very good.
But as you know, you do have the full impact, so when you if you have any questions, read the impact. It's heavy, like Gene said, but it gives you all the answers to why they derived on them instead of numbers. But first of all, I just on behalf of the coalition and our board, we want to come in here and talk about the impact study. And we have some of our board members here, Nick Iamino, Robert Neiman, Dan Burke, our president. We have Tyler Herrick is here, and of course, Jeff, who's our manager. Today is very interesting to me because just a small, quick little nip about the history, Gene. Jack Diamond knows, he was the mayor at the time. July 22nd of 10 years ago, of 14, Dan Hall came into my office at the outlets and it was all in the papers about this, the arena was going to be sold and everything. So we were convinced, and he came in the office to sell for the Booster Club. He's been a big supporter of Glens Falls for years, high school. So anyhow, he gets in and I said, okay, you're selling the arena? You can't sell the arena. We got it. It's an albatross around our necks. And we just have to let go of this thing. That's it. So anyhow, I said, well, why don't you put some people together? And Doug Kenyon had called me a couple of times and who wants to be involved with that garbage down there? So anyhow, one thing leads to another. I said, a lot can be done in 60 days. He said, Ed, it's going off September 9th. One thing led to another. Called Rick Fuller, who was the president of the Adirondack Chamber of Commerce. And call him the next day, which would either be today or the following day. We got together, met at the chamber office. And long story short, here we are today. We took over in 15, but another little bit, it was really just a leap of faith for us, I guess. We had nowhere to go. We didn't know what to do. We put a call out for 250,000 matching funds. And within 5 days, from Monday to Friday, we had raised $500,000. 4 people stepped up, and then we ended up totally getting about $635,000. Our goal was $1 million, but we had some money. We knew we could go to Jack and try to make a deal and blah, blah, blah. It went off. It didn't go off to the 9th. Remember, you had to postpone it for a little bit, and we ended up getting favored with it. Here we come. So now we're there. We're ready to go into business. We say, oh my God, we can't own this thing. We go back to Jack and say, we don't want to buy this thing. We have to rent it. So we leased it with them, and then we said we still don't have enough. Here we came to you people. Some of you people are still here. When I remember Conover and Garrity's going in and talking to them and saying, we need some help. They gave us a leap of faith. I mean, they gave us, but we had some great people. Nick and Nima are here, and we had some great bankers and lawyers and accountants that had names in the community. And they gave us a leap of faith for $250,000 commitment for 3 years. And now we felt we could make it work. Long story short, we made it work. we're here today to talk about how we made it work and the impact that it is here today. If you look at this synopsis, you all have this sheet in the front. If you take this out for a moment, you'll see in 2015 and 16, we brought into the community $10.6 million. Now, if you look down on your right to that, you'll see 780,000 of direct financial impact came back to the county and so forth. So, and our board wanted to do this again. We said, okay, we need to show the county, we need to show the community that this thing is working. So in 17 and 18, we did it again. And that jumped up to 13.2 and 943,000. So we're making progress, right? We're making an impact in the community. Now, we said we have to do it again this year, last year, 22, 23, $21 million brought into our community directly from the Cool and Shoring Arena. And that turned into 1.2 million direct cash to your computers. So, and you know, so it's huge. It's huge. If you look down here, annual attendance on the bottom, first was 151, then 208, and then 210. The 210 doesn't seem that much of an increase, but in reality, it is because we played 6 more games in 08 and had other attendance. So those 6 games, if you have even 4,000, all of a sudden is 25,000 more people. So it's there, folks. And I wanted to tell a little history because there's a turnover here, you know, for who was here before and who isn't here. So that's the crux of where we're at. The improvements that I've made in the arena, you all know, you just supported us again for the Heritage Hall. And I want you to know too, the city has come on board. Last year at Dan Ball's mayorship, they started to give us 50,000. You people upped it to 100 so we could have capital improvements. So you support us again from the 250 to the 100, and our commitment is we have to put in at least 50. But here we have another 200,000 to continue to make the arena positive. So it's all been good. It's been a great marriage. Now I want to turn it over to Jeff because you have another piece of paper. He'll talk about it, about what the arena and what the hockey team gives back. It's over 300,000. So Jeff, turn it over to you and, you know, give me a little bit of information.
Yeah, we have a handout as well, if you all want one. We also took out a couple ads in the Chronicle and the Post-Star after our season. But real quick, I just want to start with our last 6 months of activity at the arena. As you all know, the Thunder had a great season, but just from January through June, the Thunder had 29 games. I think the attendance was 131,000 and change. We had 17 sold out games this full year, which is clearly our best ever, which is tremendous. Total attendance this year just for Thunder was 195,000 people. We averaged 4,239 fans per game, which is over 80% capacity in the Cool and Shoring Arena. So certainly a historic year for us. As you know, we're the smallest market in the ECHL still. We've always prided ourselves on having an impact on the community, which Ed just mentioned. And it's also part of our mission to give back to our community. So this season, we gave back over $300,000 to over 200 local organizations, which we're very proud of. 92 community events by the Adirondack Thunder. So we didn't just have a great year on the ice and in the business side of the company, but certainly off the ice in our community. So again, we're very thankful for all the support that you've given us for 10 years now. So notable events also so far in 2024, 31 other arena events highlighted by Jeff Dunham, which sold out. The junior hockey team is still there, 6 games. Section 2 basketball had another tremendous week, over 12,000 fans attended. NISRA boys basketball finals. It's gone for a couple of years, but we've hosted 19,600 fans over 4 days now, which is one of the best attended events we've ever had there. The Globetrotters came back, Section 2 wrestling. Glens Falls Brew Fest was back at the arena, which is a pretty cool event for us. We hosted a spa and hot tub show, and we host a few of those a year. SUNY graduation, BOCES, Queensbury, South High all did their graduations there. Over 53,000 attendees for that set of events. So just for the first 6 months of 2024, we've had 184,000 and change guests come to the Cool and Shoring Arena. So our best year by far for the arena and the team. So as you know, we're continuing to invest in the building. We've got a facilities committee and we spent quite a bit of money in the last couple months on projects that we're going to get started on here in the next 30 days. So thank you again for your commitment. And I guess personally, we attended the annual meetings in Vegas and our team was certainly were well received in the ECHL. We won ticket sales year-over-year growth, which is led by Sean Driscoll, Bennett's son. We won specialty jersey of the year. If you all saw, we wore country jerseys last year. They were pretty cool. You know, it was a pretty big hit in the crowd. We're going to do it again. So pretty exciting. And I was personally given the ECHL Executive of the Year award. So we've got a tremendous staff. A lot of them have been with me for like 8 years. We're looking forward to a great 24-25 season. And the last thing I'll say is we've already surpassed season tickets going into next year that we did last year. And last year was the best by far. So we're, the arena and the hockey team are both in very good spots. Happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Any questions for Jeff on the board first? Anybody on the tourism board have any questions? Any questions from the public? More?
I just want to say one more thing. He said, I feel remiss because he was named Executive of the Year. And there's 29 teams in the ECHL, and it's just like any big organization, NFL and all that. That's pretty, and we're quite proud of him that he's done that, and his staff, that they got several awards, like he said. So I want you to know that we are highly thought of. The Adirondack Civic Center Coalition, the Thunder, the arena is highly thought of at the league. When you go there, they ask us, how do you do it? Because we're small staff, economically tight. So it's an impressive journey and we're very proud of it. I hope you as a community are proud of it. And it's shortly, we're going to come up. We have big plans. We're not asking for anything now, but we have big plans. We're going to really light the fire here in the next couple of months, God willing. And so thank you for time and everything else. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you both for all that important information. All right, the next thing we'll move on to is Sam. Ready? Sam is from the Lake George Coalition.
Hear that.
Thunder. I might have. Look.
Thanks, Gene. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for reviewing our application. We know this is a big ask out of the committee. We ask you to please give it your deepest consideration. We've handed out some packets here. This is proprietary information through Moment Factory. And our contractual agreement with them is that we will keep that private. So, Mr. Chairman, I ask you if we would like to review that, if we can go into executive session at the end or at anybody's convenience.
The attorney has said this is not possible, so just have to continue with.
Okay, then I please ask everybody, the board, to keep those private for your review and do not share with the public or with media, please.
I don't want, if I could, just so everyone's clear that the documents that were handed out would be subject to FOIL. If there's a FOIL request for them, I don't want the coalition to be under any misunderstanding. And while I understand the desire and the importance of information that's maybe being provided, it's not proprietary information to the county, it's proprietary information to the coalition, which the coalition is choosing to share with the county, which is why we can't, under the open meetings law, go into an executive session I know we had a similar issue and concern last year as we went through this. So if the coalition wants to have the supervisors look and review the package, it would be subject to FOIL. If those were taken back and they're not reviewed as part of the committee meeting and we don't have a copy, then we can't produce it for a FOIL. But once it's discussed through the committee process and reviewed, it's going to become part of the county record. Should someone want access to it in the future. I hope that helps. I wasn't aware
We totally
of
understand.
this
We-
extra piece until just now, so.
This is always our effort to be totally transparent with everything we do. And, we apologize. Our hands are tied last year. I guess we'll have to take the packets back and I'll do my best to go over it with you with what the contents of it. But-
Sam, there were two documents you want both.
This one?
Yeah.
No, I think you can keep the second, the one page you can keep.
Got it memorized already.
Of course you did. Here, we'll
Yeah,
take
think
this
about
down. Thank you. Very good.
Taking these back.
Motion to adjourn.
We could let all the record just shake. Sure. It's just really, it's just the creative content that the manufacturer doesn't want up there.
What? In Maggie's house, that hit that stone. Oh, she had all the houses around Maggie got. Survey it all. Worse, it looks like a war zone. But I hit Jack Planet and.
You could do that too.
It's not like they're gonna.
I think we're okay to keep it all.
Well, big one between aviation.
And I didn't get one. If you have extra.
Huh? Crowded. Oh, Crown.
Again, we apologize that we can't submit these.
All right, Sam,
Believe it.
just 1 minute. I've
Yeah.
been notified that we have to do a resolution,
Not just pass through the committee,
just pass it for the committee to pass.
because you're requesting funds higher than $50,000. We need to authorize from a committee perspective that they're able to hear that ask. So if you can do that, James, that would be
It's
great.
not a C on here. We're just gonna
Correct.
move it, to do this. It's given the permission to raise the ceiling of 50,000 coalition. So I need the board here to make a motion. If somebody wants to make a motion on C, to go ahead and do that first before he speaks. Ms. Runyon, do I get a second?
I'll do a second, you get on the floor.
Mr. Strainer, do a second. Any
Chairman,
questions?
are we still allowing public comment? Because I thought we did this prior to any motions.
Well, we're back out because he's gonna speak on something that we have to approve first before he can speak on it. So,
The consensus.
but we're still basically in.
Unfortunately, I got to recuse myself for the discussion, so apologize for that. I'll go outside.
So I got a motion and a second. Everything is all right. And we have a motion second. All in favor? You have to go outside. I'm sorry. All in favor?
Oh, what do we vote on?
We're voting on whether or not we can raise the ceiling from 50,000
Right.
to higher than 50.
Well, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I thought they would do this during an OCTAX meeting, ask for higher money than to come here and ask us to raise the ceiling. I don't understand why we have to raise the ceiling here at the committee meeting.
So part of a resolution that was passed, Resolution 461 of 2023, according to Schedule A, Item 5, it requires the committee to, I know, do I sound official here?
Yeah, now that I see it in front of me.
It requires the committee to authorize an applicant to apply for more than the threshold of $50,000. And so we need to allow that, very similar to what we did last month with the Balloon Festival. We had to authorize them to apply for more than 50,000, and then we heard their ask. So what this board is just doing is just to allow the coalition to ask for additional funds higher than $50,000.
I didn't know we did a resolution for the Balloon Festival to reapply like that.
It's not a resolution, it's a committee approval to hear. It doesn't go, that committee approval doesn't go before the board. It just allows the committee to make a decision of whether or not they want to have funds be available or have applicants apply for funds higher than $50,000. We kept it at the committee level rather than have it go committee and board. It was based on a resolution. Yes, oh,
Stroud,
All right, well, this is the coalition, the Warren County Coalition. Winter's Dream. We gave them $3 million. And so before I do anything, I want to see some kind of rationalization for another $250,000.
this isn't to approve the dollars. This is just to approve to hear the application.
Well, that's it. I don't want to hear the application if I don't agree with it. So I want to know why.
Well, in order to know why, we have to pass this resolution to allow them to speak.
Catch 22.
It's not a
And
resolution.
it's not a resolution, it's a, thank you.
Consensus of the committee.
But that consensus is based on a resolution that was passed last year that needs to happen in order for them to ask for the dollars. Am I making sense?
No.
I apologize.
And I believe if we do not approve, if the committee does not approve this request, then the the Warren County Coalition will not be permitted to present their request for additional funding. So if you want to hear the request for additional funding, we need to say it's okay to hear that request above $50,000.
I want to hear the rationalization for the request first. Because none of it makes sense unless you're convinced that there is merit. We don't know. I mean, I'm reading the application, trying to get some hint on what's going on, but okay, that's just me.
Everybody has to agree. Yeah, the majority has to agree.
all right, did you hear that, John? It's just the majority of the committee has to approve them to ask us for the money before we give them the money. So
Or
this is
before
what,
we hear.
this is what we're trying to do.
I want to know why they need the money before we go.
But it's only to allow them to
It's
tell us.
just a
what they-
logistical. Yes. Thank you. Okay.
Any other questions?
You made a roll call or you made the?
Just a yay. If somebody requests a roll call, we'll have a roll call. Or it's just a yay or a nay. All right, any other questions from the committee? Yes, Ms.
I approve going forward so that they can speak.
Mr. Stroud, Strainer, I think you seconded.
Did I?
Yes, you did. Just want to make sure.
I don't remember that, but
All right.
I'm getting older. Yeah, I'll second it to put it on the floor.
That's
It's,
Yes, you have to agree. Yes. It's just an
Oh.
approval. It's not a resolution.
Oh,
Are you approving that they can ask for more than
Sure.
50,000?
all right. All in
they can ask for
favor
anything they want.
by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right,
And
and one abstention.
Yes.
All right, all right, we can move forward now.
Ooh,
John, we have the deepest respect for you. I want to answer your questions. So we submitted our budget in the packet and,
Sam, can you speak up just a little bit, please?
is
We'll
this
get
mic
closer to the
working,
mic.
Gene?
I don't think so.
No.
There you go.
Hear me now?
That's it.
So in the packet, we submitted the budgets for our application. We have reviewed at the last meeting, a request by Mr. Wild to review our original pro forma, and our original projections, John, which I think would answer a lot of your questions versus the budget versus what actually happened. And we had a nice meeting with Mr. Wild and respect his comments. And it really came down to a couple of areas. Number one, the weather that we had, we did not have anywhere near the ticket sales that we thought we would get. And it wasn't a pie in the sky. It was, we talked with both Mullet Factory, who has done many of these shows, and with Ice Castles, who had sold 80,000 tickets the first year with only a month of ticket sales, and the fact that they lost the whole week of the school break in February. So our anticipation of the ticket sales was real, and we thought we could certainly hit those numbers. Did not hit anywhere near it. What we hit is a lot of rain. As we went to meetings in North Carolina, at Zardico and whatnot, we found that it wasn't just us, it was across the whole northern United States. And people were interested in what we were doing to kind of offset this weather pattern. So that's why we not only did not hit our numbers, but we did not get the surplus money that we wanted in our profits to be able to continue this year to start the show up. So that's why we're here today. We know it's a big ask, and I think it's a lot to come here and ask you for that. But we believe in the show. It's a coalition, like Mr. Moore's, that a team of professionals that have worked very hard and will continue to work hard on a volunteer basis, on a year-round basis, to help Warren County develop a brand, become a winter destination. So as you might recall, the data that we did provide, and we do collect a lot of data, and again, we want to be transparent. Last year, we saw a 9% increase over 2023 in hotel occupancies. We saw a 25% increase in occupancies for short-term vacation rentals. We thought that was a very good milestone considering the weather and the fact we were up against the winter games the year before. We surveyed many of our guests, and both that attended and did not attend, and they helped us develop the changes on the sheet that I can give you without giving proprietary information. That's just one pager. So I want to go over the changes that we're looking for this year. Last year, you might remember, Winter Dream was a 5-day event. This year, it'll go as a 4-day event, Thursday through Sunday, beginning on November 29th, the day after Thanksgiving, running to the first weekend of March. The Winter Coalition this year will contract with Fever, which is a marketing company that does quite a few of the Moment Factory events. They bring to the table a new realm of marketing. They have a New York City database of 1.4 million called Secret New York that they will go to, and they have told us that they can bring the ticket sales from the 27 that we were at last year to 55. Our pro forma settled in on a 35,000 ticket sales. We think that's a more realistic number for this year. One thing that was brought up last year was our pricing strategies. We've brought those down into family pricing. We've adjusted the rates, we've adjusted parking, et cetera, to make it a lot more affordable. This morning, US Facts came out with a data sheet that 1 out of 8 families are having trouble with affording food on the table in the United States. So we recognize that and we will adjust accordingly. With the time to plan, which we did not have last year, remember we got our name late October. With time to plan, we will open up Thursday and Sunday nights for special events. We did United Way last year. We'll do veterans, medical, and many other nonprofit supporting events on those 2 days throughout the time period. The first evening show began earlier this year. We went with what's called nautical twilight time last year, which is 45 minutes after sunsets. I think we could start that earlier and open it up to families. Our earlier shows did well last year, but later shows did not do the ticket sales we thought. The other thing we'll be introducing this year is adult beverage content. We'll start those sales at 7 o'clock at night to fill up those later ones and give that experience. Ice Castles wanted that with their show last year, but they were not able to get their liquor license. We have obtained ours for that. The big thing that was in this packet is we went back to Moment Factory. We asked them for improvements to the show. We know the show has to improve every year. And they put together a pretty good listing of enhancements to some of the bastions of the fort, to the courtyard, and certainly for the lights on the outside of the show. Certainly Ice Castles was much more visible than Winter's Dream was last year. And we recognize that, and we were set off the street a little bit. So part of the enhancements is to really light up the outside of the fort and light up the entrances and make that very visible as you come to Lake George Village. And lastly, we'll be working with Winter Carnival, the other event that will happen this winter. We put Jessica Dara on our board, and they're looking to do an ice skating rink. I hope that comes to fruition in Woods Park. We've worked with them on synthetic ice, but some type of joint adventure with Winter Carnival. Again, in this branding of trying to make Lake George, Warren County a winter destination. You might recall during the presentation we did back in May, I showed you a slide that shows how people travel throughout the county. It's not just Lake George Village, but you saw that people traveled up north. Certainly to Queensbury was the #1 destination. Walmart did well. And because of the short-term vacation rentals, you saw that the grocery stores, Price Chopper, Hannaford, all did very well, including Jacobs and Tony. We can track that with this data. This data is interesting because we have a very good one now. It's certainly going to change. And it might, till I retire, and long after I retire with AI, more and more technology is coming on board now that we can really do a deep dive and isolate these events, bring back to you really what we bring to the table. So that's the enhancements that we want to do this year. Why should you consider funding this event? It's a huge ask. We get it. Well, Ice Castles is leaving, Winter's Dream and Winter Carnival remain the only two events. This is not a 1 day or a 1 week event. This is a 3.5 month event. So it covers the winter, which is a time period. If you're ever going to fund anything, you want to take care of that time period about Lake George and Warren County to be a year-round destination. That is the time period that most of the hotels and the operations either go down all the way, or they certainly have sluggish revenues. And we elevated the process of branding Warren County as a Lake George destination. We can continue that. We can build on this throughout the years. The other thing is we continue to be a nonprofit coalition. We have no intentions of taking any money. All the proceeds go back to the county. I remember telling Mr. Diamond, he asked me how many years does it take to pay it back? I don't know, 5, 10, 20, but you'll get the proceeds every year. We're a nonprofit organization. We have no interest, but we do have an interest in building the brand. The other thing is each year that goes by, one of our biggest expenses, our two biggest is equipment and marketing. Marketing we won't cut back on. Not only did you buy Winter's Dream last year, you bought $3 million in marketing. $3 million is what you got in marketing. But each year that goes by, we buy the equipment. Last year we bought the lake, so our expenses already went down to $100,000. So each year that goes by, we become more profitable. More money goes back to the county. What happens if this money is not awarded? Then the show ends. And that'll be it. A great effort, I guess. But we need the $250,000 in startup cost. $150,000 we're asking for is for renovations, each for improvements to the show, as we're in the packet that I wish I could hand out to you. Those improvements are needed to build on the show each and every year. We have to do some things to safeguard us against rain. If we get that again, we have to build on the program. We have to show the consumer new things every year. So we think all of these enhancements will help this year be even more successful. And we build the next year, which we have application into DRI, we can put even more money in the show. We build to the 250th anniversary of the United States, which was always our intent. So in closing, I know it's a big ask. We appreciate everything you've done for us. Please give us a deep consideration what we're putting forth, and we respect your decision either way. Thank you.
Any questions for Sam?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
you know, privilege of the floor happened pretty fast. I know the rules of the board state that we can't really speak as supervisors during the committee deliberations, but I do have some comments that I would like to make, and I'm wondering if we can still leave privilege of the floor open.
I think it's still open. Mr. Attorney, it's still open. Yep, it's still open. Go ahead.
Thank you. And this is for the committee and maybe for the public also, but I did with some of the leadership team with the coalition. And I'm in total support of this. And one of them, there's two main reasons. One is when we first approved this, I knew that there was a risk of not meeting the numbers the first year. If any one of you have ever been involved in a major project, you've known something that I would refer to as Murphy's Law. There's always something that can go wrong, and it probably will. I have full confidence in the leadership team to be able to make this happen. And one of the reasons is because they've committed to make this a success. And on top of it, they know that if they can make it a success, they might get another opportunity. So cutting this off and not supporting this means that we've just tossed away $3 million. So I'd like you to all consider this seriously. It's a big project. There's still risks. I have trust in these people, and I think we do them the good service to support them again this year. Thank you, Chairman, for the opportunity.
Thank you. All right, how about the board? We have any, Mr. Stroud?
Yeah, Sam, I mean, where's the $3 million?
1.5 went to the creative. The rest was in the expenses of marketing, and equipment, for the most part. John, I'd love to give you the,
So we still got another 1.5 million hanging in there.
it was a 5-year program, so 1.5 was creative, then the other expenses.
We
I'd love,
spent close to 500,000 on marketing, and then plus the 1.55. Then the equipment rental in the first year was just under $500,000 for that equipment rental. So that, of that 3 million, I believe we spent 2.9 plus. We did have about 50,000 that was not, claimed in reimbursables. But a lot of it, kind of like what Supervisor Wild just said, these were upfront costs to Moment Factory for the creative, that 1.55 million, that biggest chunk. And that is the 5-year run. So that recurring costs, like Sam said, a lot of those first year costs are gone. Some of the lease and payments and improvements we had to do to the fort to make it, ADA accessible and other things like that, those are all done. So really, as we move forward, this is pretty much now a marketing and equipment rental, and labor operation where all of the creative is gone.
So 3 million is gone.
John, to be clear, the show was not $3 million. The show first year cost $6 million. The rest came out of our pockets. The fort alone was $887,000.
So the 3 million is gone and some.
We
And
like to say invested.
well, and you're asking for 400,000. And what we're hearing is that if we don't give you the 400,000, we'll close up the shop.
We don't get the 250, the funding. We don't have enough to start up the show. It's the startup cost are $275,000.
And we were supposed to get paid back that 3 million, right?
Yes.
We're still gonna get paid back the 3 million?
Like I said, every year, if it's profit, it goes back to the county.
Or are we just throwing 400,000 into this? I mean, 150,000 for upgrades. And I have to admit that what I was hearing, what I saw, really wasn't that impressive. I mean, it was nice enough, but I think that probably accounts for the low attendance to the meetings, or to the event. So I'm glad to see that it's gonna be upgraded, but I thought all that was gonna be covered by that $3 million.
I would say the time, absolutely. We're supposed to have residuals that cover people carry the show with improvements every year. Of course, we're going to get the ticket sales. And John, to be honest with you, going forward, events like this cost a lot of money, just to create it. 50,000 is almost nothing to them. If we want to put on a Disney type show or a dynamic show, that's the cost of this type of event. I wish it wasn't that much. We had sticker shock too, to be honest with you. But as you look around the country, look at all these shows, that's the cost. That's what it costs. If we want to have a big bang in Warren County, the capital has to be listed on the 50,000. That's what it costs.
And I'm just gonna read from the contract that was signed with the coalition from paragraph 6B. And it was that the sponsor would agree to pay 50% of the net profits generated during that first season, 2023 to 24. And then the next paragraph, which is 6C, states that it would be a reimbursement, a partial reimbursement of 50% of the net profits for each subsequent year until full reimbursement of the $3 million is received by the county. So I just wanted to make sure there was clarity that the agreement didn't require 3 million to be repaid in year one. It's a process of reimbursement over multiple years, with the benchmark being 50% of the net profit generated each season from the event.
Any other questions?
More comments, I guess. For those of you who don't know me very well, I'm a skier and I'm a snowshoer in the wintertime. And I gotta tell you, the last few years have been brutal. And in all honesty, it's, I struggle with the idea, and again, I'm not looking to throw away $3 million. But I just, from where I'm sitting, there's no guarantee you're gonna get any better winter than you had last year, candidly, in my opinion, you're probably gonna get it's gonna be worse. And I'm not looking to throw away $3 million, but $250,000 is a lot of money. A lot of money. And I'm not convinced that doing something in Lake George in the wintertime is guaranteed success. I'm just not.
First, I would ask then, if that continues and there's no skiing or snowmobiling in the winter carnival.
No, there was skiing and there was snowshoeing, but there wasn't, I mean, I think I broke out my snowshoes once last year.
Exactly. So if all of it goes away in the winter, what else do we have?
Good question.
What else do we have?
All right, any other? Mr. Schwartz?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I am in support of this request, and the main reason is because if you look around the room of the quality of the individuals that are asking for this, and what they've meant to their community and to the county overall. I mean, this is really an elite group of individuals who really have helped this county prosper over many years. I don't think they would come here with a request that doesn't have at least really good potential merit before. I seriously doubt they're gonna ask us to consider this amount of money, which essentially is about a 13% increase if I did the math correctly. And I think, they've extended themselves and their individuals and their businesses over the years, what they've contributed to this county. I'm asking us to do the same thing in return, to give them an opportunity. So, one voice, but I am in support.
Anyone? Mr. Strainer?
So if we don't do the 250, this is a done deal. You wouldn't be able to do anything
For this year.
So then that's almost the same as we did waste that money too. You said that the room were up, which means, other places are up too, your restaurants and stuff like that. Let's face it, this is where a lot of this money comes from, and this is the way they want to spend it. I've listened to years where they wanted to take all the money, and we've always said, no, we're not going to do that. So, I mean, it's a tough nut, like you said, Supervisor Bean, the winners,
It's a double-edged sword here.
but what if we have a good one?
Great.
You never know. You gotta just, sometimes bite the bullet and. I mean, we're kind of low on occupancy tax money too. Things haven't been, we've been kind of spending like drunken sailors here too, and I really like to put the cart before the horse here, but. I mean, I could support this for another year, to see what happens. Let's pray that something good happens, because there is nothing up there. I mean, it does bring people in and it does put people heads in beds. It does put people in the restaurants. 250 at this point in time is doable, but, we're gonna have to really think hard if we have a bad winter.
You brought up a very good point. One thing, if I was sitting on the Octax committee, I'd be very concerned about is how do reservations look going forward? And how does the summer look? Because you're asking to spend money on money that we're going to be getting in. We have the answers to that. The hotels does, Vinny, I certainly do. I can tell you, we've had the best July on record for the Fort William Henry. And I think some of the other hotels say that August looks very strong and our fall looks very strong as well. So with the Octax coming in, that's just our little neck of the world of hotels. I also know some of the short-term vacation rentals are doing very well as we talk to guests that have taken that option. So I think your Octax flow of money should be strong, and I think we need a good data system to be able to provide that to you so that you can make decisions on what's coming in.
We have Christine.
She's good.
She'll tell us exactly how much we've got.
And Mike, to your point, I can only tell you, our integrity and honor is there. We have our reputations on the line. We have our necks on the line. And this is all, believe me, if this doesn't go through, I go back to my job and I have a much easier winter than I did last year. But I'm in it, Tyler's in it, the coalition's in it, ready for the long haul. We're in it to win it. And if we can make this happen, and John, I understand it's a huge risk. I sit on both sides of the table. I know it's a huge ask. But if we can make this happen and get through these bad weather days, if we can make Warren County the destination and brand it, then we're set. So again, thank you for your time on this.
Ms. Runyon, I think you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that this is not weather dependent. So as the winters get to be less snow, less ice, less skiing, less skating, this event will draw people because there isn't the other option. And also, I think I went to it, so I can just tell you, I think you should have more interactive events.
It's in here.
Okay, yeah.
That's
Not
part,
just
that's the
walking
big one.
through the
that's the big
lights,
one.
but actually things for people to do that they go home and they say, hey, wow, I just did this.
Any more, yeah, Stroud?
So how many days a week were we open this past year?
Mostly 5. It was Wednesday through Sunday.
And now we're gonna reduce it to 4.
Right.
So the hotels, so that's 40% of the week, we're not gonna be doing this, and the hotels won't get that benefit. But hopefully they'll get the benefits, they're gonna be closed Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Wednesday was very soft for us last year, John, and we didn't have the opportunity to package. One thing we're asking for is right now, if we can get funded, right now, start the marketing and do consignments with the hotels so we can start packaging right away. Port, Queensbury, Holiday Inn, buy X amount of tickets, $10,000 worth of tickets, and get those packages out and package out. So you look at a 2-night stay on Wednesday, Thursday, or Thursday, Friday. So we're able to bring people up earlier.
So 250 and 150, you're actually requesting in 2 different requests, admittedly. But you're asking for 400,000.
That's correct.
So another 400,000 above and beyond the 3 million. With no guarantee that we are gonna get paid back.
You're absolutely correct, John.
I'm not looking so much for the payback. I'm looking for, there's a lot of other things in this with the sales tax and bringing people to the area and, the promotion. So I'm not so much looking at getting that payback as much as what's gonna cost me to go forward. I mean, you gotta do something. You gotta try some new things once in a while. We didn't have the good weather last year, which is kind of disappointing, but maybe we'll start seeing a trend. Maybe it will get better. I just think we've gone too far not to keep going forward. I understand what you're saying, John, but
Well,
it's catch-22.
Ms. Runyon, one more time, and then we'll have to move on.
Okay, I'd just like to know, what is the opinion of the tourism department? Do you feel this is a positive thing that we should go forward on?
We definitely need winter activities, absolutely, and we are already starting to market winter right now. In the development of not only a rack card, but also in our fall marketing as well as in our winter. And so in order to capitalize on that, we need to have activities here. So I do support anything that's gonna increase visitation in the winter.
Any other questions?
If I could just ask 2
Go ahead,
questions.
sir.
On the $150,000 request on renovations, can you specifically state what those renovations are? Because one concern, an issue we resolved last winter was to avoid any funds being used for capital improvements to the Fort William Henry grounds and structure as part of the $3 million.
The improvements are in that packet.
They're all,
I can't give you.
yeah, we can't show it, but I mean, it's all show enhancement. So like Sam said, it's redoing one of the bastions with a new exhibit, or that would be, I got 4 kids under the age of 14, one of them 6. We went to the show, finding things that are more kid interactive. They're touching stuff, they're moving stuff, lights are changing. So one of those exhibits is that, which is pretty substantial. And then the other large enhancement, like Sam said, is basically illuminating the entire outside in the branded theme of Winter's Dream of the entire fortress. And, I just think coming down the hill, into the village now with Winter's Realms not there and all their different types of lights, having that fortress up there all lit up, in it, I think will make a huge impact as well.
So Larry, your
If I say
question,
it just slightly differently, do you envision whatever those renovations are, that they would come down at the end of the season and not be part of the fort going into the spring and summer season?
I want to answer your question. It is not infrastructure for the Fort William Henry. It is equipment that would come down at the end of the season. It is
Perfect.
lights, it is projections. It is
I wanted to ensure that that wasn't going to be a stumbling block from a legal perspective on that second request. And then my next question is, in general terms, what has the coalition purchased? And what do they own currently? Like in broad groupings, I don't want specifics, but lighting, sound. There's a lot of stuff that puts this show on that I believe was part of the $3 million package. What is the coalition currently? What have you purchased and what do you own?
So we own some equipment such as pallet lift, things like that. And we also, from the show itself, we own the frozen lake lighting. Tom, maybe you can, I don't know the technical
Yes,
things.
there were several elements that came from various suppliers that were part of the $3 million expense. One of them is that cabin, right, which doesn't have all the equipment in it, but it is the framework and the structure and the screens that we introduce audiovisual gear, lighting, and other projection systems and audio systems into to enhance to create the gamification, if you will. And the gamification of the cabin is one of the key improvements that Moment Factory has offered. We all felt that being a focal point of the event really needed more interactivity, right? The LED array that is on the the northwest bastion of the port, whatever one it is the link. And that equipment is now part of the coalition here. So we have that equipment already in stock. And we will be using that again for the link. As far as, I think there's a huge amount of cabling that went into making all of this stuff interconnect so that we have a great deal less work to do the next time we get the rest of our systems together and put it in. So I think we've made improvements to not only the equipment that we have, but the operation of setting it up, tearing it down, storing it, et cetera.
And one of the reasons I ask as the county attorney is there would be a possibility for the county, first under the original agreement, paragraph 16, the coalition as an entity did guarantee performance and the repayment under the $3 million funding. So as part of this second round, there may be some willingness, and I'm not asking the coalition members to decide this right now, but there may be some ability to do a UCC lien filing against the assets which the coalition holds as part of this second round of funding, if the committee and the board were willing to go forward with it, because that would provide, while we don't want hundreds or even thousands of feet of cable, everything has value. And that's kind of how a loan gets secured in some circumstances. So there may be some security interest on this additional amount of funding should the committee and coalition be able to, and the county really come to terms on that.
We also own the entrance.
Great idea. Great idea.
I do okay. Yeah,
Thanks.
I don't have a problem.
All right, Mr. Stroud, one more time, go ahead.
Okay. I'm just having a tough time. I don't have the original request of 3 million. But I seem to remember that did cover marketing and that did cover some improvements. The 3 million we gave you.
Good ticket sales.
Yeah, they're all good people, but I mean, I just don't know where we're going with this. I mean, $400,000, no small request. I'm just having trouble with that, following the 3 million that we gave them. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Anybody else? So we move along here. All right. We will move forward with number D. To approve the authorization to the coalition application for $250,000 for Winter's Green. I need a motion to approve it. Mr. Gerasi makes the motion. Ms. Runyon, you second it. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? One opposed. Resolution passes.
Sanction or
and one abstain. That's right, we have one.
You write
one
down.
yeah.
Recusal.
Recusal. All right, the second is E, committee to approve Warren County Coalition, approve another 150,000 from the special event funding for Winter's Dream, 150,000. I get a motion for that, Mr. Jurassic, Ms. Runyon. Any questions? All in favor? I
Aye.
gotta say aye, we're not asking.
Aye.
All against? One against and one abstention.
Sorry.
Recusal.
Recruit. I guess the wrong words.
Recusal, sorry. All right, so that passes. All right, that passes. And thank you to committee. I know it was a tough battle, but I gotta hope that the rest of it helps out. Just like with the Coalition for the Civic Center.
I think the $3 million.
Made a success. We started. So
I think
move on. All right, discussion on.
You want to go back up to A?
Back up to A. Oh, go back up to A, I'm sorry. All right, we need a resolution. We want to read that resolution so they.
Yeah, so, before I read the resolution, I just want to give some backup information. Within our scheduled salary budget for 2024, we have a full-time position of principal account clerk. After reviewing what our current part-time account clerk does right now, and also looking at the needs of the office, specifically putting into consideration what we need from an occupancy tax perspective, specifically on data collection, analysis, and summarization, which is part of a fiscal coordinator position. I'm asking for the board, for the committee to make a resolution to change the full-time principal account clerk, which is currently in the budget, to a fiscal coordinator, which I do not need any additional dollars. Both have been approved and authorized by the Director of Human Resources, as well as John Taplin. So that is for the request, and I will read the resolution to authorize to create the position of fiscal coordinator, eliminating the position of principal account clerk. This will assist the Director of Tourism in overseeing the accounting and financial management of the tourism department, which also includes occupancy. 10%.
I need a motion on that. Runyon, I need a second. Mr. Strainer. Any other questions? Ms. Runyon?
My paperwork says request withdrawn to be addressed through the budget process. Did that get reversed between the time I printed this and now?
Yes.
I could do, yeah, but either way. We decided to let this request go forward because it's to replace, as many of you know, Lisa Grant, who intends to retire by the end of the year.
Okay.
And if we wait till the budget process, the position wouldn't be approved until January,
Mhm.
and we'd have a gap. So we're trying to prevent that gap. So
Okay, thanks.
Stroud?
Heather.
Yeah.
What is it the fiscal coordinator can do that the principal counselor
Yeah.
couldn't do?
So I knew someone would ask that. A big piece of this is about data collection, analysis, and summarization, which is one thing that I want our department to do better at, is to provide you with where the dollars are being spent, what events they're being spent on, what communities we're supporting, very similarly to a pie chart that says X amount of dollars went to this town, X amount of dollars. Right now, we get that information, but I don't have the staff to do that. And within the job description of the other, it doesn't necessarily require those particular tasks. There are other tasks in here that Lisa does do that are fiscal coordinator positions versus the principal account clerk as well. So so that's the difference in what it was. She's really just doing, I think she's doing more of a fiscal coordinator position, but never was changed throughout her tenure.
That doesn't surprise me that she went above and beyond the call.
She does. She's gonna be a big loss to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. And B,
Okay, so B, we have been working hard in our office to digitize our application process to make it user-friendly for both the applicants as well as how it is output to you as committee members and the board. And so what we're looking to do is create an online digitized application through a portal that we've been working with IT department to create that. And so what we're going to do is with this portal, I do understand that there may be some applicants that do not like computers, do not want to deal with them. That is why we have additional staff in our office to help with that. So if the concern is about once we digitize it, what if somebody doesn't like it? They can come in, make an appointment, and we will do that for them. The other part of this is also looking at some changes in the application questions to make it more simplified. And therefore, there is a document that I've handed out to everybody. It's called Occupancy Tax Application Portal. And I'm going to quickly go through those. They are numbered 1 through 4 pages. So on page 2 of 4, this is the same. When you come into the portal of the application, you're going to include whether or not you are applying for funds less than 50,000 or more, and we will have those come to this office to gain approval needed if they apply for more than 50. To give you an idea, from an application login perspective, can you hand another one to John, if you wouldn't mind? From the application login, we want everyone to understand that if you are a new login person, we will authorize you so that we are not sharing data with other organizations. Your information that you provide to us, although it's not proprietary, it's just that it's secure to you and the entering of what you do. Basically, we don't want someone else entering your information and your data into the application. This is a dashboard approach, so we will be able to look at historical data. We'll be able to look at all the organizations that applied in the past, events, applications, awards, and this office will be inserting the analytics that both the applicant provides as far as results of attendances, as well as research data that we currently have in our office to tell the number of room nights generated within that particular time frame of the event. I'm not going to go through in detail of the application or the needs for the application of managing organization and the event details. I'm just going to touch upon a few here. All is very similar to the existing application. One of the newer pieces that I want to go to on page 3 is some of this is also automatically generated. So when you enter dates, we'll automatically generate the season that you're in. So we have an off-peak season of January, February, March, April, November, December, or an annual event. We do have applications that run across the full year. A shoulder season, May, June, September, October, and a summer season, July and August. Again, these are automatically populated through the system. Total number of attendees, we have the applicant put in the number of attendees and the percentages that they feel are day and overnight. Computer will calculate the number of room nights. That is based on the number of days multiplied by or divided by half of those, assuming that two persons are staying in the same room. These are assumptions that'll be populated out on the dashboard. And then also we want to know how you determined to figure out those numbers. And some of it may just be that's what you're thinking based on your thoughts of coming up with that event. And that's okay too. As new events come, you have to make assumptions. And that's part of providing and getting funding for a new event. Then to help the tourism department, or then also seeing if you work with a third party, because we also want to know Gina's team does a great job in supporting a lot of these events. And we want to be able to recognize those businesses. Also, if there's communication that the tourism office needs to have with that event to get more details, we know that there's a third party we can go to get some of that information. For the tourism office, we want to know what your marketing looks like as well as what your target audience. That will help us better to market your particular event. Then the application requires an event budget. Very similar. It will allow you to put in what is expenditures that we authorize expenditures as well as non-authorized expenditures as well as your income. We are going to then take this as a portal and everybody gets one sheet of paper. to review based on that event. I think you all will really appreciate that. It will print out in a computer format, and legible. And this is no offense to anyone that has applied before. Some do handwriting, some do a lot of detail, some don't. It'll be equal across the board. We will have 1 day of application process. Everyone will come in here and they will present their presentations. Each of the committee members will have an opportunity to score, and I'll go through that process later. Then after that scoring, our office will take it back because the computer will populate and give you a score based on the data that's inserted into the application already. So the applicant will know, based on like a rubric approach, how they could be scored. And again, we'll go through that after. That will print out on your one sheeter of the application. They'll come in, they'll make their presentation. You then have a couple of questions that you need to score on. We take it back, we enter that into the score. We come back the next committee member and we provide to you where the computer scored it at. You as committee members have the ability to make additional changes to that. So if you feel a applicant should deserve more dollars because they are XYZ, that's what we'll do. Again, you'll be able to see the full budget based on what we're adding to that budget. And then it'll be a full committee approach. That will then go to the board. So it's the committee that scores it. Then it will come back to the committee to then make recommendations or changes or make changes to the recommendations that scored, that came from the score. And then it goes to the Board of Supervisors for additional approval. The next step after that, once it's awarded, is we then allow applicants who are awarded to now submit their information, because there's reporting they have to do via this portal. From that portal, we will be able to report out what they asked, the number they said they were going to get, the actual number they produced, as well as the analytics that we are doing. I can't say right now whether we're going to report out on a monthly or a weekly or a daily basis. I'm still negotiating rates for those particular output. But for example, what it's going to tell is I can be able to tell you, we spent $900,000 on events to support in this many counties or this many municipalities, and it brought in this amount of overnight stays and this economic impact. And I think that is what the committee and the Board of Supervisors has been asking for. This portal will help us get there through multiple entities of inputting. So before I continue on to the timing and the scoring, are there any questions on those particular parts of the process?
It's not a question, but an observation, Heather. Making it simpler, good. Integrating it, good. This is good.
Thank you. A lot of this came from multiple input and just hearing what both applicants and supervisors were saying, just to be honest. So moving on to the timing, we are going to have an application timing of September 1st to October 15th. We then have a quick turnaround in our office to make it happen so that you guys can review the applicants in October, so that we can then bring it back to the November committee meeting, so that in December at the board meeting, should there be a board meeting in December, we will approve it. If not, it will roll over to the January. But it will not affect anything within the budget. Won't affect any budget timing. It was more about making sure that those events that apply for funding actually have the ability to know they're going to have funds for that next year. And then looking at the application scoring, again, this is
Sorry.
simplifying, but then also taking into consideration what events we have done in the past. So we've talked about the off-peak, the shoulder in the summer. That's a value of 15. We look at the total number of attendees. Again, this is looking at existing attendees that we've had at multiple events and just breaking it down into different areas. That's a total of 20 points. Room nights, it's a total of 45. That is really what I'm hearing from everybody, that is why we provide these dollars, is to create those room nights and be able to bring dollars back to be able to fund more events. And then the committee gets 20 points of that 100% within that. And some of those questions is looking at, your personal feeling on whether or not you think that this is the right event to fund. You think it's going to increase overnights? Do you think this is the right event to fund for the county? Do you think this is an ideal location for that event? And then another piece, community impact. I feel that it's important you each represent your own communities. Do you think that this is something that your community will support? And again, it's just from your particular point of view, committee scoring. This is not a board scoring. This is part of the committee that makes recommendations. If I can take a sidebar on that, I think it's important that we recognize that our committee, our community members are our biggest supporters, as you know. But also from our events, I want to start encouraging them that they need to start attending these events and supporting these events. And I got that from a lot of the community meetings that we've had over the past couple of months, that we need more community buy-in. And you being at the forefront of the communities can identify that for us better than we can here in the office. So that's why one of those questions is overall community impact. So with that, are there any questions on this application process and anything in here that the tourism department are making a recommendation to put forth these changes?
Hearing none, just keeping in mind that we're not going to do this tomorrow or next week. So if you leave here and you ride home and say, oh, I should ask this question, come and see Heather and we can take care of a lot of that stuff.
We do need we need to adopt this.
we need to adopt it.
So I'll read the resolution for you. So authorization to adopt this updated version, as well as approve the online version of the occupancy tax grant application for conventions, trade show, and events. And the rationale is to present to the Tourism and Occupancy Tax Coordination Committee a new streamlined online occupancy tax grant application for conventions, trade shows, and events.
All right, Mr. Rossi, Mr. Stroud, you second it. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? None? Passed.
Thank you.
Heather. Good job. Good job. Thank you. Right now, we're gonna go into occupancy tax budget update.
Actually, if we could go to workshop. If you don't mind doing workshop first, if that's okay.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Thank you. And this would be a document. I know we passed out a lot of things today. It would be this presentation that had sort of the black box around. And if anyone needs a copy. And we will make sure that we give you a final copy to upload to make sure we get you all this as one big copy.
This is ad workshop. They do our winter and fall. They're gonna update us on what's going on for the fall.
Hi, I'm Kira Lacey. I'm the Director of Client Services at Workshop. We have our fall and winter media strategy for 2024 to share with you, spanning from August to December. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Just to walk you through what we're sharing, our process, our themes, our tactics, and our media plan. From a process perspective, we're in the media plan build and approval stage. Once we have approval on our plan, we'll work through our asset determination. We'll work through creative builds and delivering ad mocks with all of the copy that you'll see on the paid media ads. We'll set up tracking for all of the ad units and assets so that we can track each creative on how they perform. We'll launch the campaign. We'll then be in the campaign management phase. So we'll do daily and weekly campaign monitoring. We'll monitor all of the assets and how everything's performing. And then we will provide optimization recommendations as needed. And then at the end of the campaign, we'll provide an in-depth fall and winter report, deliver that to all of you, and then move forward into the 2025 planning. And Ally, you'll walk us through our themes.
Any questions so far on, I think it's pretty standard for our meetings here. But going into page 4 in fall and winter 2024 themes. So we, going into this media planning season, kind of realized there's a lot of kind of blend between summer into fall and then fall into winter. So it made the most sense for us to do something cohesively that allowed us to promote the relevant attractions based on what Warren County has to offer, search trends, travel trends, and here's kind of what we came up with. So our general themes we're going into the fall and winter with are fall foliage, spooky things to do, holiday lights. For outdoor recreation, a big focus on hiking, biking, camping, golf, on the water, air adventures, horseback riding, and outdoor winter activities. Attractions including shopping, family fun, and food and drink. And then for events, we have Balloon Festival, Adirondack Thunder, Oktoberfest, various fall festivals, Fright Fest, and the various winter events. Any questions? Sweet. So, tactics we are going into, again, a mix of things to promote these various different themes. But first, we have television, which I think is fairly straightforward, but standard commercials on both cable and broadcast news station or broadcast stations. Connected TV, which is our digital form of serving those TV commercials. We are moving more and more into the digital world, and connected TV is actually kind of quickly surpassing some of our traditional TV viewership. We have digital video, which is another form of sharing video content through the internet, not just isolated to connected TV. We see it provides us a lot more inventory, and video is ever growing as a popular way for our audience members to consume the information that we have to offer them. Paid social, Facebook, Instagram, ads throughout those formats. We see a ton of high engagement and success with those. Flipping the page to native advertising, which is a form of advertising that blends into the platform that it is served on. So it looks a little less addy and performs very well with our audience. We typically use this to promote various blog content seasonally. Google ads, type into Google, you search for something, in general, a lot of our audience, as they're consuming information, researching, search platforms are one of the most common ways that they do so, with Google being the most popular. So we always run Google ads. It tends to be a little bit more further consideration, research, and actual conversion as people are planning throughout their decision-making traveling process. Retargeting, we want to make sure that as we bring people to the website or introduce them to the Warren County tourism brand, that we keep hitting them with different touch points. So we do retargeting ads to remind visitors and continue to encourage them, stay top of mind until they make their visit. And then geofencing, it's a form of very specifically hyper geo targeting based on certain locations, a specific area of interest, build an audience off of that, and are able to reach them with advertising. Any questions on what these tactics are? Yes.
I just have one question. I'm looking at this and it says New York. I'm assuming it's the city.
Next page, she's looking.
Next page. Okay. Yes. So these are designated market areas. So
I'm more interested, does it roll over into New Jersey? We get a lot
Yes.
of people from New Jersey here, but it says nothing about New Jersey.
yes, so in DMA's, the designated market areas, New York and Philadelphia cover New Jersey together.
I
So
just
these are.
wanted, it didn't jump over Jersey. Okay. thank you.
Yeah. So, so for example, Albany, you're actually in the Albany DMA. So it covers into a little bit of Western Massachusetts. It covers a little bit of a larger region. It's for some reason, the way that
Thank you.
geos were originally delegated with TV stations and have continued into
Mhm.
current state. But yes, New Jersey is included in New York and Philadelphia. Don't worry.
Any questions?
So this kind of pie chart that now we're into covers the breakdown of the different tactics. Again, focusing on those themes that I mentioned earlier. And then the DMAs, so New York, Albany, Syracuse, Utica, Rochester, Buffalo, Philadelphia, Boston, Springfield, and Hartford. It really kind of covers our 6-hour drive market. And then in Canada, we hit that Montreal market as well. And so we have kind of two flights that do a little bit overlap. Some things start a little earlier, some things start a little bit later, with fall really being August 15th to October 31st, and winter being November 1st, December 31st. Any questions? Great, last slide, thank you.
Thank you both.
All right, Heather. in your budget.
Okay, so really quickly, I don't believe this should be any surprise to you, because it's included in the monthly reports that come out from the treasurer's office, but I'll just reread it. It's the occupancy tax 3-month projection that I introduced last quarter, or last month, excuse me. So this is as of May 31st, 2024, book balance 2.42 or $2 million. I'm rounding up here to keep things going. Reserve 1.5, 3-month revenue projection is 1.8, 3-month expenditure projection is 2.1 or 2.2, excuse me. And so what we have left is $182,178. Do know that these are based on projections. These aren't actuals. And so what this does is it tells this committee what funds are available to allocate to projects. I do want to say that next month you're going to see, hopefully, as we see this dollar grow, we can allocate dollars towards what we previously passed, which was a spending plan of $496,000, Balloon Festival, $100,000, ACC, $200,000. And then in anticipation of a board approval, whether or not the $400,000 will also be added to that. These are expenses that have not been, what's the right word I'm looking for? Not allocated. We have allocated. Thank you. Thank you. We still need to make a resolution to pass this to make sure that we've got the funds for them. And because our funding comes in the latter part of the year, that's when we make it available. Any questions on this?
Yeah, Heather. In parentheses, the reserves and the 3-month expenditure projections. So the parentheses mean what? I mean, generally speaking, in budgeting, they mean a loss
Yeah.
or a variance from the original.
So how this works here is I'm doing top to bottom. So my first number is the 2 million, then I subtract out the 1.5, then I add in the projected revenue of 1.8, and then I subtract out the expected expenditure projections of 2.2. And when I do that in that order, I'm remaining with a positive 182,178 cash flow.
Ms. Runyon?
Did I?
Is it the I'm sorry, we still.
I just want to make sure
Yeah, I'm
I can do it differently if it would help. I don't mind one way or another. Sometimes when I look at things, it might not seem as clear with others, and I have no issues changing.
all right. So book balance is 2 million.
Correct.
Reserves 1.5.
Yeah, but we have to take that out because we've got a little
So
world.
1.5 subtracted from 2 should be what, around 500,000?
Correct. Then you add the 500,000 to the 1.8. And you get 2.3. And then you subtract the 2.3, which is a positive, minus the 2.2, and you get the 182.
Okay,
That work?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Ms. Runyon?
Is the 400,000 for Winter's Dream part of your expenditures on here?
Not yet, because it has not been approved. And there's a couple of expenditures that we have to pass a resolution for. Because it wasn't part of the original budget. So in order to make it part of the original budget, we have to do an amendment.
Okay.
And that's what these, you'll see them in future committee meetings to amend the budget to add these expenditures into it.
Okay.
Is everybody on the same page right now? Okay, we'll move into the treasurer's report, which probably should have been earlier.
Morning. I spoke to this briefly on Friday's board meeting, but this is the actual, I was reading it off of my text because the computers were down. This is actually to date 7/22/24. These are cumulative numbers. On the top of this report, we have total occupancy collections. So again, Heather's talking about what she disperses. This is about what we receive into the county in occupancy tax, the 4%. Hotels, motels, short-term rentals. So the top, you have cumulative through 5/31, 6/30, and 7/22. What you will see in total is we're up 17%. Over year from 23 to 24, same year. So total revenue collected through 7/22/24 with 1.8 million. Okay. Of that, if you go to the lower half of this report, you see just the short-term rental portion. Which is about 12% of the total. So again, year over year, if you look in the third column through 7/22/24, we've collected about 219,000, which is a 66% increase over last year, same time. So we have a lot of activity in short-term rentals. It is increasing. However, we still have, that's 12% of the total. So our big hitters are still the hotels and motels. But again, just wanted to break that out for you. We're going to continue to give you this information every month. Hopefully it's helpful. Any questions? Thank you.
Questions from the committee? All right. Thank you.
One of the things, and Heather, I'll work with you offline. It speaks to the question that Deb brought up. We can work in the budget variance report or even in Heather's report and break out maybe some of what's included in your expenditures versus what's not. Go forward, that might be helpful. We'll see.
We did pool agency and George.
Like,
We had no referrals.
we have Lake George Regional, so we've got June one. She's right over there. She's hiding from you.
Just give us a quick synopsis of what you have.
There's the printout. I don't know if there was.
I actually put it into the entire packet. So if you go through your packet, it should be in there.
Okay.
I delete now. Should be the last piece. This one right here.
Oh, yes. Okay. Just some high level highlights. Coming off of page 2. We had 33 bookings this past, just in quarter 2. For just over 5,200 room nights with 6,200 or almost 6,300 attendees. And again, these are pieces of business that are booked between now to 2027, not just in this quarter, they were booked in this quarter, but could be further out. And for those pieces of business, the economic impact was 7.7 million. And I'm going to jump ahead to page 4. Some sales activities that actually happened within this time frame. We attended US Travel's IPW in Los Angeles, as well as Heather attended as well. We both had appointments. When I say we, our sales team, were really looking at it from a group tour perspective, international group tours. This is like, you're in it for the long haul. Those group tour pieces of business are not happening tomorrow. Oftentimes we go to a trade show and we might be able to generate an RFP right from that trade show. This being the international market, it's a long haul. Just think of an airplane taking a long runway. That's that kind of business. And we're really preparing for the future. Specifically, one of the biggest pieces is starting for next year, when I've mentioned it before. Hiroshi, what, baseball fans will know this guy's name. He played for Seattle. Japanese baseball player getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. We've already begun the layout or the outreach to bring that group tour business to not only the States, New York, Cooperstown, and to us, other destinations throughout the state. Within those meetings, I mentioned the 33 bookings. Big one that we're focused on now is the Hudson Valley Volunteer Firemen's Association. So they were here back in 2016. They've been in Queensbury twice in between. When they do come to Queensbury, they were here last June. You see that bit of a spike. When they were here in Queensbury, they had maybe 80 companies. When they've come to Lake George, their history shows up to 140 companies. And a company of a volunteer fireman's company could be anywhere between 50 and 150 people that would come specifically for either the parade. They do 2 parades. So it's a major event.
and they will stay all over the destination, not in any one municipality, even though it might be coming to Lake George proper, they will stay all over. Some of those hotel rooms are already booked in Queensbury and elsewhere, just so you know about that. Looking ahead at, on page 5, from trade show attendance, we did attend the Empire State Society of Association Executives. It was a one-day trade show. We had partners, the Queensbury Hotel in Fairfield. We had the Sagamore, as well as the Fort William Henry as our larger meeting hotels. So far, we've generated 2 assists from pieces of business that were there that we'd already been courting, that had pre-booked from that, but also the assistance from convention services. And then 6 other RFPs so far. Those have not generated, we haven't put them in as a lead yet, because we really need to make sure they're real business before we send them out willy-nilly, got to make sure they're real. And then moving ahead to page 6, New York State School Nutrition, we highlighted it here because we've been courting this organization for 6 years, going back to pre-2019, so not quite 6 years. They finally booked, they came this year, had such a great opportunity that they're coming back. They're going to stay at a different hotel. We haven't signed that contract, it's in the works. But one of their biggest highlights was going on the boat, having a boat cruise, dinner cruise. They can't wait to come back, and now they want fireworks because they loved Lake George so much. We were very proud of that, and everybody who made that experience so successful. The referrals, 91 partner referrals were done for pieces of business that were in town. And then Parks and Recreation was a big piece of business at the Queensbury Hotel, a huge win because they got to do walking tours at Glens Falls. They also did a fan tour of the arena. A big welcome by Mayor Collins. It was a really great, they're all still talking about that on social media, how well their meeting was in the Lake George area. And they typically gone to Saratoga and to Albany and not necessarily us. So it was a big win for us in that regard. 2 community developments very quickly, a mini golf outing with our state partners from around the state. In Clifton Park, we had 23 association meeting planners to that. And then we did a sports event around the Belmont with 18 sports rights holders who came in from all across the country to court them for anywhere in New York State. But of course, we had speed dating with them to market our sporting facilities. And then just very quickly on international tourism training, partnership with Warren County Tourism. And this is a part of that whole long haul of international. We hosted folks to come and learn about how to, really understand the international market. And then the goal is to teach and train our local hosts, hotels, restaurants, really hotels and attractions of how to work in the international market. And that is a long haul. We'll have 3 other events with Alon Marketing and really training our folks to want to work in that international market because they work differently than just in the States. So that was a big deal happening in this Q2. And you'll see everything that we've done social media wise is to drive folks to our website of meetlakegeorge.com, which is an extension of Visit Lake George, and to turn them into conversions so that we can get them to actually get our meeting, wedding, those kinds of guides so that we can convert them and follow them and retarget them, as we've already heard from workshop, just in the same manner, but to get them to book Lake George over other meeting destinations. And then all of the backup for all of the numbers are all of those spreadsheets. And we tried to make that so that you could actually see the numbers. We tried to make those fonts a little bigger, so there's more pages of that, but just so that it's easier on your eyes and easier to digest. Any questions?
Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it. I don't see Amy here. I usually let Amy come up, talk about Glens Falls. So, finish with improvements to the floor. Anybody else from the floor?
Obviously, at Lake George TV, we agree with you 100%. Everything is going video. And I see that 52% of your budget is going to connected TV and TV. So I just want to say that we should probably get together and have a meeting and figure out how to leverage Warren County's connected TV platform, Lake George TV, with your strategies and expenditures. So let's exchange cards before.
If you can go through me, that would be very helpful.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, that's it. The last, before motion, I want to thank Heather for bringing me a hat from the convention that she attended last week. We all saw it on television. And the last thing I'll just say, make sure you wear your seatbelts. Motion to adjourn.